Hey there! In this lesson, we will be introducing the concept of mini charts. So far, we have talked about sparklines and how they belong to a cell and how they can add a bit of color to your table. They are different from normal charts in a way that they are easily accessible and you can play around with them, and you don't actually need to treat them as an object. They can be present in the background of your cell. But let's think about the limitations of sparklines. As we saw in the sparklines that we created in the previous lesson, you'll notice that we mentioned sparklines of being only of three types. They could either be a line sparkline, a column sparkline, or a win or loss sparkline. What if we wanted to create a area chart or a scatter plot or any other sort of histogram or any other chart type, and we wanted it miniaturized and added to the cell like sparklines are? Now obviously we don't have that option in the actual sparklines that we have here. We are limited to only three. In that case, we can use miniaturized charts, but the difference is that we would be miniaturizing them, we'd be minimizing them, resizing them, and sorting them, arranging them manually ourselves. That is, we will create a chart using the normal chart options, but then we would resize it and you would adjust it in a way that it is present, it is related to one cell or one row of data only. Now, I haven't seen a lot of people using this technique, but I still think it is interesting enough to, try. So we're going to work with the data that we've been using so far, which is a sales performance data of the sales representatives, how much sales they made, how much they sold in the months of January till July. So let's see how we can work with that. In sparklines, what we do is we would select the cell and we would enter data here. Now let's say that instead of a line chart that we have created in the previous lesson, this time we're going to create an area chart, which obviously is not possible using regular sparklines. So I'm just going to go ahead and first of all, I'm going to go and select this data. I'm just going to go ahead and select this. Now you'll notice that when it comes to sparklines, they didn't have any axis labels, so I'm not selecting any of the headers here or the names of the months or anything, because they won't be useful to me. So I just go ahead and I go into the insert tab on the Excel ribbon, and I go into insert line or area chart. I select a 2D area chart and okay. So for some reason this is not showing the data that it should show, so I go into the select data and see what exactly I'm doing wrong. I ignore this and I go into edit. I select it again, see if it makes any difference. And did it make any difference? No, it did not make any difference. Okay, so there was a problem on my end. Let's do it again. I selected the data that I have right now. Let's just go ahead. Selected the data, I go into the insert tab, I go into the area chart. Again, it's not showing me anything, so I have this option change chart type, which will let me see what's wrong. So the first area chart that I'm here that's coming up here is not correct, but the second one looks correct. I click on that and here we go. So we have an area chart of the data of the changing trends in the sales performance for Josie. Now what I do is I do a basic remove the chart elements. I don't need the axis because I want this chart to fit into a cell there. I don't need a chart title, I don't need the grid lines, and I don't need the legend. So now I have a very basic form of chart available. So I just go ahead and I resize it to make sure that, you know, it's the plot area is basically equal to the chart area. Chart area is the size of the image, and the plot area is where the actual plot is present. So once I do that, then I resize the whole thing and make it fit into a you know, the cell there. So in this way, what I have is that I have a chart which is the size of which is almost as a sparkline, and you know, which is similar to a sparkline, but it is in a type that is not usually available. So to actually better view this, I'm just gonna, you know, increase the width of each one of these, and the width of the chart is gonna increase with it. So here I have a trend of in the form of an area chart, an area sparkline, you could say, or a mini chart, which is basically an area chart here. Now, in a similar way, I can basically duplicate these and do the same for the rest of these entries, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do something different for now. Let's say, instead of an area chart, what we're discussing here is how mini charts can have, you know, different charts work as cells, instead of just using sparklines for the first three options. So let's say I want to create a combination chart, a combo chart. So for a combo chart, it's basically 2 or 3 different types of charts merged together. So I'm just gonna go ahead and consider this another data that I have here is an estimated sales performance. That was an actual sales performance, and this is an estimated sales performance. So what I would do is I would just go ahead and select the data that I have in here, Control C, and when it comes to Control V, before I do that, what I would do is, let's just you know, increase this in size for now. What I would do is, instead to paste it, I click on this chart and go into the paste option in the home here. I have a paste special option here. I go here, I say that the data that I have copied, I want it to be visible on the graph as a new series, and I want it to be shown in a row, because, you know, all the other data is in a row as well. So the values on y-axis of the chart, this one, are the ones that we have in the row. For example, we have 900, 1000, 1100, all that. These are supposed to be shown on the y-axis. So I say that the values on the y-axis are present in the rows of the data set. So I go ahead and I mark this as OK, and see, I have another area chart built on top of it. So this doesn't look nice, it's destroying everything. I cannot see the other area chart. So I click on this, I go into the chart design tab, which comes up whenever I click on a chart to help me better format the chart and everything, and I click on change chart type. We have used this before as well. So now I know that the orange one, this is the second series, this is the estimated sales performance data. I wanted, instead of an area, I want it to be a line, and I click on OK. So now I am able to see the actual sales performance as an area chart and the estimated sales performance as a line chart. So this would be, I can resize it, I can make it shorter, I can fit it to the cell, I can duplicate it using Control D, and, you know, I can align it. There are other formatting options, and I will have the same trends set out for these miniaturized chart, but with combo charts. Okay, so what I did now is that I basically, there was a value minus 650, and which was making it very difficult to view how this chart would actually work. So I went ahead and I changed that negative 650 to a positive 650, just for the sake of proper understanding of how this would look. And this is how our chart would look like if it was a combo chart and fit it to a cell. So now I haven't seen a lot of people use this, but the ones that have used it quite effectively. So this could be another, weapon in your arsenal to use whenever you feel like sparklines are not doing the job for you and a normal graph is way too complicated. Because for example, if I was to create a normal chart out of all of this, so what I do is I would take this data, I would just take this whole thing. Let me just go ahead and select it all, and I would go into insert and I would select a line chart, and well, this is obviously very much a mess, and it's possible that it's complicated, that we'll have to adjust certain things, and we can change the axes, we can have the sales rep and everything, we can add legends for better understanding, we can add data labels, we can customize it to make it look better. But when it comes to trends, as far as trends are concerned, this is a pretty hard to understand, pretty hard to decipher, and it would be a while before this is actually understandable. So in order to avoid such complications, it is possible that you use sparklines or mini charts that deal with only one single row of data and show the chart in one single cell. So this is it for mini charts, and there are sparklines as well. I will see you in the next one.